From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LALATE with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021 today. In this recording, we'll go over that monthly stimulus check and why the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we cut to the recon. A done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you. This is the recon. It's all checks for you, and it's 3.5 trillion of them. In the second half of this recording, we'll go over those checks and what's going on with this incredible recon. Then we cut to the voting. The bipartisan will finish with a final vote as early as potentially today, if not Monday. And then immediately we start the recon voting in the Senate. I have all the details of which going first, which is going second, and when would likely to land in the House in the next few days as well. There's a lot of breaking news happening just minutes ago, happening this Sunday, because Congress is in session on the Senate side. I have all the breaking news in this recording. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up, and fifth stimulus starts in just a few weeks. I'll be going over all the incredible details as we start September with the big lift of your benefits. And then we cut to money across the board. As one viewer got $32,000 from this channel, I told him to go back and get more. He got another $19,000, bringing his grand total to over $50,000. I'll show you how you can get this big money as well, and why he took my advice to get more sums of money, because those sums of money are available for him, you, and everyone else. It's a big day. It's a big afternoon. Congress is in session. I have all the breaking news happening right now on Afternoons LALATE. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? How is your Sunday afternoon going? I'm wearing my Sunday red, not for golf, not for crypto, but you know, just because it's Sunday. So hope the weather is good where you are. It has been absolute paradise here in Southern California. In Santa Monica, onshore breeze, cool in the morning, cool at nights in the 50s. And during daytime, it's just about the 70s along the coast. Gorgeous weather. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather this Sunday afternoon for you. In this recording, we're going to go over those monthly stimulus checks and why the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we cut to the recon. Done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you. These are checks for you, all walks of life, seniors, workers, everyone across the board. It's incredible great news. It's one of the biggest stimulus packages the U.S. government has ever passed, and it's $3.5 trillion of checks coming to you. I have the details in the second half of this video. Then we cut to the voting. The Senate is in session today. They're working today. They're voting. And while they promised to get the Senate passage of the infrastructure, the roads and bridges done on Friday, they didn't get it done on Friday. On Saturday, they didn't get it done on Saturday. So will they get it done on Sunday? And will we start the recon on Monday morning? I have all the breaking news in this afternoon's LA broadcast. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which is just days away from starting in September, raising your benefits up a lifetime if you're on SSI, SDI. And then finally, this one viewer, Mark, getting over $50,000 from this channel. After he got $32,000, I told him to go back and get more, and he got an additional $19,000 in just the last few days. I'll show you how other viewers are getting massive sums of money like Mark, and how it's your day to get this money right now. And this is LALATE, America's only 24 hours a day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Evenings LALATE. Right after this video is Overnight's Crypto. Stay here. You don't have to do anything. It'll automatically take you there. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. For a reason, there's no channel like this on the globe. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, and Calcino VIP. Get ready for later in August as this channel expands into new programming, potentially starting as early as this week. Let's get into those monthly stimulus checks starting right now. House versus Senate, Senate versus House. They're both monthly, and they both have a payout, but the payouts are different, and the number of checks are different. Let's compare and contrast. House versus Senate. House, pandemic plus 1 year monthly stimulus check. Senate, July to December. House, $1,000 after the first month, Senate July to December, but the amount unknown. Yet, word on the street, the Senate would pay you this. Deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. 100,000 new COVID cases announced in the United States in the last 24 hours. This is a massive rise as Delta, Delta Plus, and now Lambda are concerns across the country. So the House bill would pay Pandemic Plus 1 year, which would be more checks than just 12 checks, more checks than just 1 year. And under the House bill, that would amount to more than $13,000 from the House. So let's compare that to this and the Senate. I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House of Senate, House of Senate, and tell me how the weather is as where you are this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Who gets that fourth stimulus check? Democrats represent, you get it as well if you got a third. Single individuals, 75,000 or less. Democrats represent, you get a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, 150,000 or less. Democrats represent, you get a fourth stimulus check. Family of four, Democrats represent, you get a fourth stimulus check. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, Democrats represent, you get a fourth stimulus check. The fourth stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. The fourth stimulus check is not a check that has a different amount for different people. It would be the same for everyone across the board. And the fourth stimulus check is not a waivable check. And I learned my lesson, rightfully so, about 2 weeks ago. I was broadcasting live on the beach on a Sunday evening 2 weeks ago today. And one viewer said, LA, is that the check behind you? I said, where? Where? Oh, it is. Hi. Yeah, it is. The viewer said, wave at the check. I said, really? Come on now. He said, wave at the check. Okay. Hey, check, how are you? It's LALATE. I don't have my purple shirt on, but, it's the beach. And how are you? Didn't wave back. Rude check. The viewer said, no, LA, it's not a rude check. It's just not a waivable check. I watch your videos. Set me up. In the second half of this video, we go over something that Bernie Sanders has fought for a generation for. It's to send you $3.5 trillion of checks. You should be ecstatic. You should be celebrating. These are the massive payout of social checks we have seen in a generation. Checks for seniors, checks for workers, checks for all walks of life. It's coming up in the second half of this video. Then we cut to the voting. The recon and the bipartisan. The bipartisan was supposed to pass the Senate on Friday, didn't. Saturday, didn't. Now heating up on Sunday. And with that, will the recon start voting on Sunday or will it start on Monday? I have all the breaking news. In the final 15 minutes of this video, stay to the very end. Then we're just a few days away from September as fifth stimulus starts up. And fifth stimulus raises your benefits up if you're on SSI and SSDI and VA. I have the latest news about this as well. But first, let's get some money, and boy, let's get it. Rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and homeowners utilities. Get a pen and paper ready because I'm going to get you some of this money. When I first started recording these videos, I said I could get you $5,000 of rent approximately, about 4 to 6 months of rent. And, I couldn't get you $5,000 for rent. I couldn't. I just couldn't. I could only get you $27,000 for rent, as Elizabeth got $27,000 for rent as being a Purple Hawk, a member, a viewer, a subscriber, like Mark, who got $25,000, Nancy, $24,000, Richard, $22,000, Nisi, $20,000. The Purple Hawks are the envy of the nation because they are informed, they are sophisticated, and they're educated, and they know how to pounce. Hawk, hawk. And the numbers keep on going on. Pamela received $12,000 for rent. Carla got utilities and SNAP. Tiffany got $13,000 for rent and SNAP and also utilities. Randy got $6,000 for rent and also utilities. Jennifer got $5,000 for rent and also lights and SNAP. And Cecilia got some heap. Congratulations. Then when we turned to utilities, I said, I can get you $300 for utilities. Well, then this happened. Wow. Nancy got $7,000 for utilities from being a viewer of this channel. Mark got $6,500 for utilities. Angela got $5,000 for utilities. Incredible. SNAP is money for food, and I said some viewers were initially getting $5,000 to $6,000 as being viewers of this channel until this happened. Oh my goodness, Louis. Louis got $18,000 for SNAP. John got $10,000 to $12,000 for SNAP. Nancy got $5,000 for SNAP. And then finally, the grand total of viewers getting multiple sums of money, rent, utilities, SNAP, or 2 or 3 items came in. And are you ready? Let's see it. Bam. Oh my goodness. Nancy got $32,000 from 3 items, rent, SNAP, and utility. Mark got 2 items, rent and utilities, and Nisi 3 items, rent, utilities, and SNAP. Incredible. But the story doesn't end there. What happened? Notice Mark on that screen at 32,000. He got 2 items, rent and utilities. And last week I said, Mark, you only got 2 items. You only got $32,000, Mark. I said, why aren't you getting the third? SNAP. He heard my videos. The power of the purple, the power of pushing. He heard my videos and he went back and got SNAP. So how much more SNAP did he get? How much SNAP did he get? He didn't have any SNAP. Did he get a couple $100? A couple $1,000? No. He got $19,000 of SNAP, bringing Mark's grand total to $50,000 from this channel. And that is the purple power. Let's go over all this incredible detail starting right now. And this is LALATE. Let's get some rent. Let's get some utilities and more. This is LALATE. This is what we've been doing since day one. In April of last year, I launched this channel because people's EIDL loans and grants were not coming. But I singly stepped in. I got viewers $25 million of EIDL loans and grants approved. Absolutely incredible. Saving their businesses, their homes, and their employees' homes. Then, in fall of 2020, second stimulus was not coming. The check was not coming. There was no check to track. I stepped forward. I got viewers $250,000 of rent, like Tyrone. Paid his family of 4. $15,000, all their rent from December to January to February. But now we're doing it again. The only difference is you're getting bigger and better and more sophisticated and smarter and more educated, and you're bouncing like a purple hawk. So get that pen and paper ready, because we're going to go over all the incredible details for right now. If you've not gotten this money, today's your day to get it. And if you've gotten one sum, today's your day to get the other sums. We're going to reach out to different places for different eligibility. Each place has different eligibility. If one says no, reach out to the next. And finally, they also have their own eligibility. They also have their own pots of money. And listen for the keywords I say in this video, because viewers say the keywords really help them get approved. Are you ready? Here we go. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus, or Chris and Sanima's wonderful fan club. Does it exist? I never heard of it. And there you go. If you got money for rent, post in live chat. And congratulations, Tim and Linda got money for rent as well. And if you got utilities, post in live chat. Let's cut now to SNAP. SNAP is absolutely incredible. What is SNAP? SNAP is money for food. Where you get Department of Agriculture. How much does it pay? A fortune. A family of 4 out of Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Whoa, why so much money? Because of 2 wonderful executive orders, one from Biden, one from Trump, that raise your benefits up 15%. Louis got $18,000 for SNAP. Mark got $19,000. And now you can get that money as well. And if you got money for SNAP, post in live chat. And we're just getting started. 13 minutes of this video. And we've gotten $27,000 for rent. $8,000 for utilities, $19,000 for SNAP, and we're just getting started. The next part of the money is the refund check coming back from your states. The states have been ordered to return money back to you due to overpayment of unemployment benefits. This is incredible. Where's the landing direct deposit? Can you track it? Yeah. Contact your state and say, hey, state, where's that check due to overpayment of unemployment benefits due to computer error? And can you track it? And when you track it this time, can you plug in the keyboard? You know, it's sort of hard to sort of look at things if there's no keyboard or mouse. And then finally, the last refund check is the one coming back from the federal government and IRS. This is absolutely wonderful. Margaret got it, Todd got it, Michael got it. It's landing now. And it's a waivable check. Sorry, Mitch. I know you hate those words, waivable check. But this is a waivable check. The IRS confirms there's a new wave every week this summer. The latest wave is $1,265 average payment of a check. Deliciousness. The direct deposits charged July 14th, and mail checks that week was July 16th. But more about that in a second. Here's a personal message. If you're on the live chat and you've not posted your success stories for rent, utilities, or SNAP, please do it right now, because when you do it, you help other people. The spirit of this channel is me helping you and you helping others. It's a loving community called the Purple Power. And there's 3 magical things that happen of helping other people when you post your success stories, whether it's $100 or $100 or $10 you got from rent, utilities, SNAP, or more. Number 1, When people see these numbers in the live chat, it inspires them to go get the money. They see people getting $27,000 for rent, and then they say, wait a second, I have rent bills. I'd like my rent paid so I don't have to spend my own money to pay it. And then when people see utilities, they say, oh, I have utility bills. I should get my utilities bill, and I should get SNAP. I never heard of SNAP. I should get it right now. So it inspires them to get the money. Number two, Art Sullivan got 3 items early on in this channel with Nisi, and they both inspired people to get 3 items. Then Nancy got 3 items. Then Mark, as I joked earlier last week, he quote, only got 2 items at $32,000. I said, Mark, go back and get the 3rd item, and he did this week. Just days ago, $19,000 for Snap, bringing his grand total to $50,000. And finally, it updates us about the numbers. So post your success stories in the live chat because you will help other people. That's the spirit of this channel. And with that, how much of that unemployment benefits is coming back? Let's go over the details. Let's say you have $9,000 of unemployment benefits. You pay $5,000 in taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, you're getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. Can you track it? Yeah, go to irs.gov. Do a transcript search, and 70% of the time it will work. It'll reveal the taxes you paid and the tax return you file. It also reveals stuff you never wanted to know, stuff you wish you forgot to. Stuff you really wish you forgot. Like when Mitch was on Star Search and he was singing that wonderful lullaby song to Chuck Schumer. Was it Slave to You by Britney? And finally, we'll reveal the refund check you're getting. And can we top that? We can, as we go into the second part of your fourth stimulus check update, starting right now. Done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you under the fourth stimulus recon. While the final bill vote will be in just within days from now, the bill is effectively done. Why? Because the Democratic caucus senators twice have met and agreed they're doing it at a price tag of $3.5 trillion. It's incredible, great news. This is all checks for you, checks of all kinds, checks for seniors and checks for workers. It's the biggest payout you've ever seen in the history of the channel. If you saw how viewers got anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000 on the third stimulus, that was third stimulus. This is fourth stimulus. And how do they do this? By taking roads and bridges out of the fourth stimulus around July 4th. Before July 4th, roads and bridges was in the stimulus, made it what's called unpassable. Democrats said, I won't vote for it. So they took the roads and bridges out of the bipartisan, out of the recon, and put it into something called the bipartisan, making both the bipartisan and your recon passable. The confirmation comes from conservative publication Op-Ed, which confirms my reporting, that says the following, that originally the recon was just too big. The higher the price tag was on the recon before, the harder it was to pass. There you go, confirmation. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending from their recon and put it into bipartisan roads and bridges, the overall price tag of the recon got smaller, obviously. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon passable. It's also reverse. The recon also made the bipartisan passable. And now they're both getting passed in the Senate. Now, once the Democrats had shrunk the recon, they were able to bring it back out a little bit more. And that big new price tag, $3.5 trillion. Checks for you, checks for all walks of life. And this is what they wanted because they had so many things that they wanted to give you checks for. And by bringing the price tag out bigger, like to $3.5 trillion, they were able to give you more checks. Representative Richie Torres said, we have to have a larger recon. You got it, Richie, $3.5 trillion. The reason why he wanted to have it was he wanted to include rent assistance. There you go. And then Representative Ilhan Omar said we have to have a recon that goes as far as we want it. You got it, Elon, $3.5 trillion. And the Progressive Caucus was meeting with the White House daily to ensure the recon went big and bold enough. They got it, $3.5 trillion. So how did they do this? By protecting the recon. The president had told the progressives, protect my recon, because everything in the recon is checks for the American people that are progressive priorities, progressive policies. That comment comes from Brian Schatz and Jalopal, both progressives and both Democrats. Quote, the White House considers the progressive priorities their own priorities in the recon, was the quote for the White House. So what is a recon and how do you do a recon and who writes it? But first, let me go over why the progressives and the president have become so well aligned in the last 7 days. We started last week with no eviction moratorium and no freeze on the student loan debt forgiveness. And guess what? Cori Bush, a Democrat, progressive, St. Louis, 1st District of Missouri, sat back and heard the president on Monday say, I'm not extending the eviction moratorium. It's unlawful, and said, I'm not going to accept that. I'm going to push. She didn't say purple power, but she embodied the purple power spirit. What did she do? She pushed every night. She sat on Capitol Hill and had a nightly vigil until the president took note, and by the end of the week, he completely reversed his course, saying, I don't care about the courts. I will put the eviction moratorium back on the books. Same thing with Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. They pushed for 5 months to make sure that the repayment of your student loan debt is frozen, meaning you don't have to pay at any moment. It had been unfrozen, and you were owed to do it. You were required to do it. And then finally, they pushed and pushed, and the president reverted course this week as well, putting the student loan debt repayment on freeze mode and setting this up for potential forgiveness. This is the true embodiment of how the president has now aligned himself with the progressives in the last week. I'll have more about that later in this video. But what is a recon and what is a bipartisan? What is the difference of them? A recon is checks for you. Only checks of all types. The bipartisan is just money to fix roads and bridges. They're two very different separate pieces of legislation. And needless to say, broadcast media 9 out of 10 times completely misreports the story because they use one word to refer to both, or they use the wrong word to refer to the other. So what I want you to be able to do is know it better than they do, and you have been. Let's go over the details. I use 2 words on this channel, bipartisan and recon, which is easy, but the problem is that broadcast media uses other words, so let's go over the other words. Recon is your money. It also refers to the reconciliation, also referred to as the budget bill. You'll recognize in an article if the price tag is $3.5 trillion, or the people quoting the article are Bernie or AOC. Bipartisan, on the other hand, is also called the roads and bridges, or the infrastructure, much smaller price tag, $1.5 trillion. And the people quoting an article about it are Kristen Sinema, Ron Portman, or a Mitt Romney. Okay, who writes the recon? The recon is written by Democrats for Democrats to be passed by Democrats. When the recon starts voting within a few days or hours, guess what? You're not going to see a single Republican vote in favor of it. That's fine, because we have enough Democrats that are supporting it. Who actually writes it? It's written by subcommittees of the House, and under the House subcommittee rules, different subcommittees are delegated different subject matters. So the House Ways and Means subcommittee, they're responsible for writing about stimulus checks, and they're also responsible for writing about unemployment benefits. When each of those subcommittees are done, they send their pages off to Chuck. Let's say that's 10 pages and 10 subcommittees, and then he gets 100 pages. He puts a big S on front of it, and that is for sugar-coated, salty, seductive, Schumer-ish, Laverne and Shirley. No, it's for Senate. That's your 100-page Senate bill at that point. Now, until we have the reconciliation, we have something else. We have an emoji called Not Bill Yet. We don't have the bill. Until we see the bill, we don't know exactly what's in there. And that is why it's important to push. They don't want to show you the recon until its debut because it's sort of like an upcoming pop singer who has an upcoming album releasing. They don't want you to hear the songs before the album's released. When the recon is debuted, however, and could be debuted as early as today or tomorrow, it's important to understand that's not law. That is not law. We have an emoji for this. Not law yet. Because guess what? In the third part of this video, I'm going to go over extensively why the Democrats will be modifying fellow Democrats' language. It's incredible, great news. Then that is the recon. How did we get to this wonderful spot? We got to this wonderful spot by Jalopal, who recently wrote Schumer a letter saying, Chuck called the vote on the recon. Well, guess what? We're calling a vote on the recon as early as tomorrow. Or, maybe tonight. The incredible great news. The letter was signed by 12 House Democrats who are part of the 100-plus House Democrats who recently wrote the president a letter saying we're going to be putting monthly forced stimulus checks in the forced stimulus package. Wow. Purple power, you got to keep these people their promise. Can we top that? We can. As 7 members of the House Ways and Means Subcommittee recently wrote the president a letter saying we're putting monthly fourth stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Boy, Purple Power, you got to keep these people their promise. They're promising you monthly fourth stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. They're also promising you a fifth stimulus check. More about that later. Can we top that? We can. As Biden did it, the president went overseas and got a global minimum corporate tax rate signed informally 6 weeks ago. But the formal signature was just days ago. It's for something that is no longer needed in the fourth stimulus package, and thence it's easier to pass the fourth stimulus recon. First, this thing is very confusing and boring. And so it's easier to write the recon because it's not in there. Next, it's easier to call the vote on the recon because this thing is not in there. Easier to vote on the recon because this thing is not in there. And easier to pass the recon because this confusing thing is not in there. And can we top that? We can. As we go into the final 15 minutes of this video, I'll be going to the voting, the steps, the process, the Senate versus House, Nancy, Chuck, the President, Jalapal, who's going first, who's going second, why do we not have it done on Friday for infrastructure? Why are we still voting on Sunday? I'll explain all the details. It's very convoluted, but I'll make it simple, easy breezy for you in the final 15 minutes of this video. And then we'll go over the substance, the recon, the modifications of the recon, everything you need to know that's heating up within just hours. And also we turn to fifth stimulus. But first, if you're having problems getting that rent, utilities, food, or internet, and more, don't worry, reach out to the volunteers. Where are they? Open the description of this video. Look for the emoji of a house. Click the link. It'll send you over to the community page. It's news.la.com/community. On there, the volunteers will help you get that big money. Here's a little bit about them. I'll be back within 60 seconds as Afternoons LA continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Afternoons LALATE in a big Sunday broadcast with a lot of breaking news as Congress is still in session. The Senate is still in session. They are working this evening, and they're trying to get the bipartisan finished. So what does that mean for the recon? Because the recon started later today. And when will Nancy put the House back into session? And when will the House start? When will the Senate finish? I have all the breaking details in the final 15 minutes of this video. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Thank you for all the incredible subscriber growth over the last week, and thank you for nearly 200 new Purple Hawks a day. We're just killing it, and you're killing it. Let's get to the details starting right now. And we look at the calendar, and September is just a few days away. And with September just a few days away, it is the excitement of fifth stimulus, which will raise your benefits up if you're on SSI and SSDI. The president had promised this during the campaign trail, did not deliver it when became president. Then during the transition papers said he was going to do it again and did not deliver it again. No worries, because the Democratic senators and the Democratic House members are doing it for you. This is September. They'll start drafting it. The voting and the final vote would be about November-ish, impacting your benefits in November. And then the benchmark will be applied in December for next year's benefits. Let's go over everything you need to know about this starting right now. Step 1, they'll raise your benefits up. Then they'll remove the asset limit, add an inflationary benchmark, remove the income exclusion, and remove the marriage penalty. Let's go over the calculation starting right now. Who is this for? You, if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, Veterans benefits, SSA, or multiple beneficiaries. First step is they'll raise your benefits up a lifetime. Then they'll apply a new benchmark. That new benchmark will be inflation. And that inflation rate will be applied in December for next year's benefits. Where's inflation going? It's going to be transitory. What does transitory mean? It's a special word set by Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve on Capitol Hill. It means that the inflation rate is going up to a spike and then coming down from that peak. When? In December. Oh my goodness, that's great news. That's when they apply our benchmark. How high is that inflation rate going to be? It's going to be about 5% is what I'm predicting. On yesterday's Afternoons LA, I went over extensively, nearly 3 minutes, about the economic factors that hit on Friday and why that 5% is now warranted. It may be even higher. If you want more understanding about that inflationary rate, watch that video from yesterday's Afternoons LA. But first, then how high will your benefits go? First, they'll raise your benefits up lifetime. Then they'll apply the benchmark. And if the inflation rate is 5%, you'll go up another 5%, not just next year, but lifetime. Wow. They're going to remove the asset cap dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't stay on benefits and also have more than $3,000 in hand. It's going to go away. They're going to remove the income cap dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to go away and love is going to win. Finally, if you're in the live chat and you notice people who have purple hawks next to their name emojis, they're purple hawks. Consider becoming a member right today. The link is under the video. Why is it important to become a member? It's so important as we go into this final few days of forced stimulus for the following reason. Because each of these stimulus packages pay you tens of thousands of dollars. And that is where the focus is. That is where the money is. And if you're focusing on a stimulus check, you're focusing on the wrong big payout. Here's what's going on. In fall of 2020, there was a $600 stimulus check. I said, do not focus on the $600 stimulus check. You're going to spend that in one day. Focus on the big other sums of money under second stimulus. I can get you $6,000. I got viewers $15,000, like Tyrone, his family of four out of Boston. And when third stimulus passed early this year, it was fortunes. It was about this big, third stimulus, and it had a $1,400 stimulus check. I said, don't focus on the $1,400 stimulus check. You're going to spend that within a week. It's going to be gone, and then you're going to need more money. I said, I can get you $14,000, which is a lot more than $1,400. And viewers were born as Purple Hawks. I launched the Purple Hawks, which is a daily delivery to you of all the information that's on the third stimulus, second stimulus, fourth stimulus, and fifth stimulus for you to pounce and get this money. Hawk first before anyone else, because a lot of the money is first come, first serve. They took my advice. And now you see that people were not focused on $1,400 stimulus checks, which you spent within just days of getting it. They focused on getting $20,000, $27,000 for rent, $7,000 for utilities, $18,000 for SNAP. They understood what my advice is the following, which is this. We all have bills. We all have bills. But the government can't pay all of your bills. The government can't fix your car. The government can't mow the lawn. The government can't get you new tennis shoes. But the government can pay for your rent, your utilities, your mortgage, your medical, your benefits. They can pay for a lot of other bills. And so if you have 10 bills in the house and the government will pay 8 of the bills, have the government pay 8 of the bills. And then you don't have to pay for them. And you got 2 of the other bills left for you to pay. But all that extra sum of money is sitting around because the other sum was not spent. That is financial management at its very best. And that's why you want to become a Purple Hawk. And when 4 stimuluses pass, we won't be dealing with the third stimulus. We'll be dealing with this magnitude, $3.5 trillion of checks. The link to become a member is right on this video. And with that, let's go right into 4 stimulus starting right now. Deal done. The recon is effectively passed without the bill actually yet being voted on. Why? Because the Democratic senators met twice and agreed they're passing the recon at a price tag of $3.5 trillion. This is incredible great news because everything in this recon is checks for you, checks for the American people. $3.5 trillion. By magnitude, this is one of the biggest payouts we've ever seen coming to the American people. And this is just you. We've had previous stimulus packages, but a lot of them were for corporations and businesses. These are checks for just Americans like you. Incredible sums of checks, and you should be celebrating because this is the biggest payout that Bernie Sanders has ever achieved during a generation. He's fought to get these checks to you for a generation. Here are some of the checks that are in the 4 stimulus recon. While we don't have the final bill, here's a preview of some of the alleged items. First, free school meals for all checks, tax break checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, immigration reform checks, And then there's lots of checks for seniors and workers, checks for farming, checks for elections, checks for free internet, checks for digital divide, and then checks for clean energy. Finally, my workers and my seniors. Checks for workers, checks for unions, checks for independent contractors, and then checks for my seniors, checks for Medicare, checks for hearing care, checks for vision, checks for dental, checks for lowering the eligibility age for Medicare. And there you go. Incredible sums of checks across the board. Let's cut over to the bipartisan roads and bridges. So did they get it done? They did not. They were supposed to finalize the roads and bridges to a final vote, bill vote, on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. They didn't. Then by Saturday evening, they were supposed to get it done by Saturday evening. They did not. So what's causing the delay? There's more amendments that people are proposing, number one. And there's one Republican senator from Tennessee who's slowing the process down. He's not blocking it. He's just saying, why are we rushing? I guess he doesn't sleep long and much because everyone's very tired and wants to go home and just get this done. But he's like, no, I just love working 16-hour days for 7 days a week. You're from Tennessee? No Tennessee jokes there. But it's like, what do you, it doesn't make any sense. He's just like, I love being worked to death. Just worked me to death more. What are you talking about? So he is not blocking it, but he's slowing down the process as of Saturday. As of Sunday, they're dealing with a lot of amendments still, and they're not the amendments you would think. They're that amendment about the crypto still. If you did not watch Overnight's Crypto today, watch it. I'll explain to you why this crypto provision is now getting very heated in the bipartisan. Yeah, it's roads and bridges. How did crypto get on roads and bridges? I don't know. So with that, could they finish the final vote for the bipartisan, the roads and bridges, Sunday evening? They could. They say they are. They also said they're going to do it on Saturday. I think they're going to get it done by Sunday night. I really do think. But we'll see. We will see. If they get it done by Sunday night, then the recon starts on Monday morning. And the recon, let's first go over the recon procedural elements. And then we're going to go over who goes first. And then we'll go over the recon substantive items. Okay, recon procedural. So the recon will take 2 days of a vote-a-rama starting in the Senate side. As soon as the bipartisan is done, immediately thereafter, they're starting the recon. The senators are not going home. They're not free to leave. Chuck Schumer is keeping them in session. They have been in session now for the longest period of time, for almost a decade. They're not allowed to leave after they finish the bipartisan. So the bipartisan goes to a final vote today, Sunday night, and it's passed. Then they immediately go right into the recon. Maybe not the same hour, maybe the next day, but immediately thereafter. They're not being let go at all. And they have the person who has the authority to let them go is Chuck Schumer, and he's not letting them go. So they'll immediately go right into the recon. The vote-a-rama is a 2-day process in which amendments are introduced by both Democrats and Republicans. You're going to see Republicans introduce amendments. They're all going to die. But then you're going to see some Democrats introduce amendments. More about that in a second. All right, let's go to the who goes first, who goes second fascination. So the most important thing is that the House leader, Nancy Pelosi, has your back, and the President of the United States has your back. Chuck Schumer did say we were going to do recon first in the Senate before bipartisan. It's much of nothing that we're doing roads and bridges before recon because it's the House and the President who determines your fate. Let me explain to you why. Nancy Pelosi has made it adamantly clear over a week ago that you cannot just send to the House of Representatives, where she is, from the Senate, where Chuck is, just the roads and bridges, or she's throwing it in the wastebasket. You have to send her both the recon and the roads and bridges together. And that when she gets them together, then she'll do them together. But if you only send her the roads and bridges, she's thrown in the wastebasket. What does that mean? She's never going to call for a vote. It'll never see light of day. It is the reverse of what Mitch McConnell did to Nancy in 2020. Nancy would pass stuff in the House, send it to Mitch in the Senate, and she'd say, I'm never going to call for a vote. Remember, the only two people who have the authority to call things for a vote are Chuck in the Senate and Nancy in the House. So she does not want to call for a vote. No one can overrule her determination. You can have anyone and everyone, complaining, but It's her position, and she's not changing it. The other great thing is that the President of the United States has said, I'm not signing just the infrastructure by itself. You have to send me on my table in the White House both pieces of legislation signed concurrently at the same time. So let's go over the president's quotes first, then we'll go over to Nancy, and then we'll go to Jalapal. All right, the President of the United States. The infrastructure bill, if it only comes to me, and that's the only thing that comes to me, I'm not signing it. That's pretty easy. They have to come to me in tandem, he says. Then he says, I'm not just signing the bipartisan and forgetting about the recon. I propose the recon, and both parts are equally important. Then let's turn to Nancy. Nancy is very good with words, and when she knows that a quote is going to go viral, she uses very stern words. And she used these stern words about 2 weeks ago, and this quote was run a dozen times just today and yesterday because it's such a powerful quote. The quote is, don't send me just the roads and bridges, otherwise you'll be in the wastebasket. As I said, there won't be a bipartisan unless we have a recon in the House, plain and simple. In fact, I use the word ain't. There ain't going to be a bipartisan in the House unless we have a recon passed by the United States Senate first. Can't be any clearer than that. And then Jalapal says that we polled our House Democrats, and the overwhelming majority said they're not going to vote on the roads and bridges without the recon as well. So there you go. You're protected with that. So that's all easy breezy. Let's go now back to timeline. And, here's a personal message. I always talk about timeline because it's important to know when things are happening because we need to know when we're pushing. But don't turn timelines into, okay, it's one extra day. They don't care about me. Don't do that because it shows a level of not wanting to be informed. Congress has to legislate. And so they need to take an extra half a day or an extra day because they're doing amendments. They do it. That doesn't mean they don't care. That doesn't mean they're passionate. Or compassionate. They're making changes. So let's go over now the timing of how things are going. So presumably the vote-a-rama in the Senate for the recon will be 2 days. So if they finish, the moment they finish the bipartisan in the Senate, which could be Sunday night, then start adding out 2 more days for the Senate. That is when the senators make changes. And that's when you have to push the purple power with the senators those 2 days, because that's when they make changes during the vote-a-rama. Then at that point, when the recon passes the Senate with the bipartisan, then they'll both go to the House. And then you're going to need a few days in the House for them to work on 2 bodies of legislation. If they make changes, then it goes back to the Senate as well, and then the president signs into law. The House is not in session. And that is another element that I think I'm the only one that's really picking this up on, is that Nancy has another protection for you. If they only pass the roads and bridges and never pass the recon, she's never going to call the House back into session. And the House and the Senate bill will die. Remember, the Senate session, which is currently now, which is the spring 2021 session, when that session is over, the legislation of it is over. So that's why they're not being allowed to go on recess, because you go on recess in the Senate, the session is over. Now they can be brought back from recess, but if Nancy doesn't bring the House back from recess because all she got was roads and bridges, the roads and bridges dies. She doesn't even need to call them back to kill it. She can kill it by never calling them back into session. But she doesn't need to because the recon's going to pass. So when would the recon start going to a vote in the Senate? Starting really the next day after the roads and bridges is done. So if the roads and bridges is done Sunday, then the recon starts Monday and Tuesday. If the roads and bridges is done Monday, then the recon starts Tuesday and Wednesday. Pretty easy. Then they would go back over to the House. All right, let's go over the issue of in session or non in session. Once the recon and the bipartisan are both passed by the Senate, then Nancy will call the House back into session. The fact that they're not in session is much of nothing. They're down the hall. All she has to do is issue a memo, a speaker memo, and then they're ordered back into session. And they can be there later that day. This is not a case where they're out of town, and even if they were out of town, they would be ordered back into town within 24 hours. So nothing much of that at all. All right, let's go over the actual drafting and the changes to the recon bill. At the moment, not bill yet. We have an emoji for this. We don't have the bill yet for the recon. We don't have it. We have the price tag. We have general understanding of all these enormous amounts of checks for you. It's very, very exciting. But we don't have the bill yet. When we see the bill, then we have an emoji for that. Not a law yet. This is critical because when the bill debuts on the Senate side, written by those House Democrat subcommittee members. Guess what? Other Democrats are going to modify it. Why? Because they've not had their hands on it. Over the last few weeks, 50 Democratic senators and 100 plus Democratic House members said, I haven't had my hands on the recon. I'm going to modify it when I get it. That's great news for us. Because Purple Power, there may be imperfections in there. There may be something that needs to be modified or changed. And they will make modifications. You see how long we've been doing the amendments of the roads and bridges. We started this last Monday. We're now on Sunday. We've done a full 7 days of amendments to just roads and bridges. We've done 3 days. Is it 3 days? No, I think it's almost 7 days just on one crypto amendment. I mean, just one amendment is taking 7 days of time on the roads and bridges. So these people like to change things. They love to change things. That's good for us. Then when it goes to the House, then the House has the opportunity to change things. The only difference with the House is a lot of progressives in the House, more so than the Senate. So the House is all progressives, and that's where Jalapal is. That's where all the people who wrote all this incredible MSC language are based, and they have the opportunity to modify. Finally, if you ever saw the inspiration to push and the inspiration to realize it's not law yet, it was this week when Representative Bush realized that the president said, I'm ending eviction moratorium. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? She did not say, that's law. She said, no, I'm going to change it. She fought tooth and nail, day in, day out, to change his position and got it. That's a true embodiment of the Purple Power. Just when you see a recon, maybe it's wrong and we need to modify it. She pushed day in, day out and got it modified. Guess what else happened this week? The student loan debt repayment was put back onto freeze mode, which means you don't have to pay it. That was the work of months of fighting by Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer and other people and Bernie Sanders, because they fought. They fought. So no time to close up shop because if you don't like a provision of the recon, because that's just a bill. It's not law yet. You're going to see days and days of amendments on the Senate side and then massive amendments on the House side. And with that, we're running up on 45 minutes again. With that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video and stay with me because on this video, stay here. Don't even have to lift your hands. You're going to go right into Overnight's Crypto. That Overnight's Crypto broadcast coming up right now is actually going to be quite important because we're just going to talk about the regulatory issue of why that crypto insertion provision is causing some slowness in passing the bipartisan roads and bridges. Suddenly, crypto is becoming very heated, and there's different Democrats on two sides of the proposals with very different proposals. So join me on that video coming up right after this, and subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful afternoon, and don't miss Evenings LA, which will have breaking news tonight at 5 o'clock as well. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.